Hello, everybody. I already had all this set up I just did the intro to the podcast with Mark, co-owner of Taco Vada last night, and I didn't want to do the thing where I carry it into the screen. Sue me. But the desk is still here. It's still a motif in my Patty G films. On this episode of the Verbal Journal, let me ask you a question. Do you trust AI? Do you believe in AI? Well, our guest today does not believe in AI, and he doesn't trust AI either. On today's episode, we are having my good friend Derek on the Verbal Journal. And along with being an AI skeptic, he is also the creator of a tabletop RPG, which means role-playing game. I didn't know that before about a month ago. And his game is called Faith Among Darkness. Give it a follow on Instagram. The link is in the description. On this episode, we kind of talk about how he got into board games. And you may notice this episode's a bit short. It's because there have been some fundamental changes to the lore surrounding Faith Among Darkness. But I still wanted to release this episode. I think we got some good stuff. I think we got about 25 minutes. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Verbal Journal with Derek, last name redacted. Enjoy. That's how the magic's done, Derek. I always ask my guests. Well, I don't always do this. I did it one time, so I say that I always do it. The first question I ask is like a question that has no meaning to it, and you just have to answer it the way that you perceive it, which is what's your deal?
I am Derek. I'm currently an engineer searching for an actual job in engineering.
Naturally.
I like to make things, so being both an engineer and I want to call myself an artist, designer, coordinator, writer, author. I'm not really sure. I take on a lot of hats when it comes to this and a lot of other things.
Yeah, I would say writer is accurate. When we did an episode of the Verbal Journal that was off record,
yes.
You gave me some documents, and I read about 5% of it. I apologize, but I did. One of the things I took away from it was that you are actually a very good writer. It was surprising.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously, one of the main reasons why we're doing this is because I want to shed some light on the game that you're creating. But there's also other things I want to get to. In this house, we have random debates, kind of impromptu debates, where we all end up in the couch area. And then we're just kind of debating about culture, life, artificial intelligence. And one day we were lifting weights in the garage, and you and I were debating the progress of AI and where it's going to go. And you seem to think that AI has stagnated to some degree.
I very much think it has, because what people think of as AI is not really AI.
So what is AI?
What basically the corporations like the Chat GPT, and I forget who makes that. What they call AI is a limited language or language learning model. Basically, it is a whole bunch of words and the connections of pictures to those words and descriptions. It is to give the model basically a database, and within that database associate points.
Okay.
To certain words.
So we teach it, human beings teach it to associate words with pictures.
Associate words with certain meanings. So it can attempt to guess and generate basically Think of it as a verbal mirror. We send something back, and it pattern recognitions its way into generating something else back at us.
Oh, okay. And so, I mean, it would seem to be based on your perspective, which I've learned a little bit about, that you don't think it'll ever reach a point where it can just be self-sufficient and it can learn by itself.
No, because the problem is, how do you teach something that is fundamentally different from us and has a fundamental different way of understanding?
Yeah.
Even if we can call whatever future computing power, whatever, will have as understanding, like, how do you teach that? Because our understanding is instinctual. It comes from just our abilities as humans.
But you don't think it can be taught that? I mean,
it can maybe be taught some kind of approximation, but one of the biggest problems with AI is, how can you tell the difference between it being like truly sentient,
right,
from it being it's just giving you back the thing you want it to appear as?
Right. So are you saying the advances that have been made in the last couple of years, it's not really indicative of the progress that's going to be made? Because one of the things that comes to mind for me is when you ask AI to make art for you, it's very good. And nowadays it's very good. I don't know, now it's popular, so I didn't really pay attention to it before, but so maybe it had those capabilities 5 years ago. But now the art that's being made and the things that it's able to generate, I mean, it's looking to me like it's progressing at a fast rate.
Image generation for AI has kind of hit a block because AI can be very much seen as an Ouroboros. Mm-hmm. As in, it can eat its own tail. For instance, one of the best kind of image generation forms that AI has is anime. Do you want to know why? Because anime and kind of how they draw magna, I can never pronounce that properly. But that kind of general anime style, it needs to be able to be drawn in such a way that it can be easily repeated and redrawn multiple times. It's really conducive.
Like animation, like with Disney.
It's really conducive to just a repetitive style that is constantly made in different ways.
Oh, okay.
And that's really... And AI, and I should say, image generation can get that really well because it's just copying. It's copying a whole bunch of stuff. It has a whole bunch of data, and it's just replicating what it has seen.
So is there overlap between engineering and AI understanding?
It's less that I understand the real processes within an AI, and more I'm kind of game to all the things it needs to actually get off the ground.
Is that due to your college education, or just
being generally aware and having to learn this stuff in college? The real thing that I think is holding AI back is not only how do you teach something to learn or understand like we do? B, how are you ever going to be able to tell if it's just doing what you want it to say, or saying what it wants you to say, from real sentience? And then C, I don't think our infrastructure will be able to handle any further progress in it.
But in terms of our electrical grid? Or?
Just about everything. Think about how much power it needs from generation to generation.
How much water it needs.
How much water it needs to keep those things cool. The processing... So I read this thing. The mere fact of you saying please and thank you to the AI and ask it for generations costs $1,000.
Whose pocket is that coming out of?
Well, it's coming from people who make Chat GPT and probably some level of taxes.
Interesting.
Well,
Or the people that pay for the premium version as well.
I think it's more taxes because
Interesting. Okay.
the government really wants its automated bureaucracy, and it's constantly attempting to find it via these methods.
Yeah, because it's interesting. You and I both know somebody who used Chat GPT for therapy, and it's just that's just interesting because it literally doesn't have the capability of being.
It doesn't understand human emotions. All it understands is a pantomime of human interaction.
Right, so the words that it can generate when you ask it a question in regards to human emotions or advice, it's really just words that it understands is related to human emotions.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And oftentimes the AI is almost purposely made to be agreeable to you. So it will go towards what you want. It'll go towards your bias unless you are specifically telling it to do something else. And the whole point about therapy and stuff like that is that you actually want someone to tell you something different from you, to actually examine what you're saying, and if necessary, tell you if there's something wrong.
Right.
And this is just going to either conform to your bias that there is something wrong when there may not necessarily be, or that there is nothing wrong when there could be something wrong.
And another thing that comes to mind is that as our personalities get dulled, because back in the 1990s, 1980s, when there was no social media, there was much more individualism. Everybody was much more their own person, but now there's millions of people that are privy to the exact same trend that's happening on TikTok. So as we kind of become more dulled down and we kind of look to the same places for information or influence, that could affect our ability to kind of think critically about it and be like, well, is this actually effective? What do you think about that?
So I actually think that we're kind of going in the opposite direction.
Okay.
We're becoming more atomized, individualized, because now we can tailor make our experiences to what we want. It's strange because it's doing this effect of both causing atomization, but also like everyone attempts to get you on to a trend.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think trends and everything existed throughout all of history.
Yeah.
The hippie movement.
Yeah.
The hippie movement was as artificial as they come with a lot of things. I think now it's more that trends are facing a lot of a shorter lifespan.
Yeah, they certainly are. Yeah.
Yeah, unless it is actually something truly revolutionary, it's not going to have much staying power in the general mass of people.
Yeah.
What you need is a niche, and to play to that niche. You need to do something that only you can do, or you do very well.
Right. Yeah, even the things that were very captivating and that felt like such a huge thing, even COVID. When it was over, it was over.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I remember talking to Ryan about how long he thinks masks are going to stay around, and at the time he's like, I think it's forever, because tipping during the Great Depression, tipping started to be a thing because everyone was struggling so much, and then tipping stayed. But the news cycle, it just runs through various things, and so we kind of have like our short-term memory is almost, or our long-term memory is kind of.
I don't think that it's the problem of our long-term memories getting shorter. It's more that we're just bombarded with so much more.
Yeah, and we're not meant to take in that much information.
And even then, it's like, I don't view it as we're not meant to take in that much information. It's just, we kind of just disengage with it after a while, because, like, what do you want us to focus on at the end of the day?
Yeah, we definitely become desensitized to stimulation. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And our threshold of joy and pleasure and positive stimulation is like, it's so much higher. That's why human interaction is so much harder to come by nowadays. That's definitely been my experience.
Yeah. I think it's more, you just need to be more intentional about it.
Right, but it is easier when you're not bombarded with so much information on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's why you have to find ways to put caps on it.
Right.
Don't get distracted too much.
Totally.
I've been bad recently just because I've gotten the my project's Instagram up, and I've had to engage with comments and messages and getting bombarded. We're approaching the 10,000 mark on views, and it's not even the end of our second week yet.
Totally. Yeah. And but it's interesting because you, as well as Ryan, our roommate, you guys have pretty much stayed off Instagram until this point, right? I mean, you never had an Instagram in high school or college.
Nope. I have very little personal social media presence.
Why is that? I mean, it's so intriguing to so many adolescents.
It's mainly because I find it to be so banal. If I want to ask my cousin about his vacation, I'm going to ask him via text. And say, hey, can you share pictures and stuff? How was it?
Yeah.
Not go online and seek validation from a collection of strangers I won't even know their names.
Right. But it is captivating. I mean, when I was a kid and I'd post something on Instagram, I'd be looking every 5 minutes to see if I got more likes. So it's just interesting that wasn't appealing to you.
Yeah.
I just find that interesting.
I mean, it's appealing to me because, now I'm doing it for more professional stuff. And it's not just me that's doing that. I'm representing my artists and my development team.
So did you feel like, as an adolescent, did you feel like you had enough validation from those close to you that you didn't need it from complete strangers on social media? Was that what it was?
I think it was a balance of, I had both my mother and father in my presence. I had my grandmother. I had second uncles and aunts nearby. I could drive up to my mother's side of the family fairly easily.
Right. You had a good close circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I had to learn to be independent.
Why is that?
Because my mother and dad worked, my mom and dad worked a lot, so I had to learn to, just find ways of keeping myself busy.
Right.
And so I didn't need that constant feeling of people were around me.
Yeah, well, one would think if both of your parents were really busy, then you would seek that validation on social media. So that's interesting that you didn't feel that way.
Well, it was more that, yes, they were busy. They had the right mind to figure times out to get off work early, go to games, like my soccer and track meets.
Right.
Yeah. And things like that. Again, it's more of being intentional with your activities and understanding and not letting it slip by you.
Yeah, being present when you are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell my mom that she can be a little passive-aggressive sometimes.
Yeah.
She tells me more about my dad's problems than actually communicating with my dad about them sometimes.
Right.
But even still, she understands actually going and talking to people. Like telling her boss, hey, can we work out sometime? I can get off early to go do things.
Yeah, so you grew up in
Quincy.
Quincy, that's right.
That was the middle of the state.
And I can't even picture it. Is it like the west side where it's super green and lush, or is it more like the east side where it's a little bit more deserty?
It's probably more desert.
Okay.
We lived in a valley. It's called the Quincy Valley, after all. We had very hot summers and very cold winters.
So it was humid over there.
Yes.
Okay.
We were not that far from the Columbia River.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And was it nice growing up there? Is it a heavily populated place, or is it more?
It's more like it's populated, and it's not like it's very populated, but there is concentrations.
Oh, okay. And did you live in a more concentrated area where you had a lot of neighbors?
Yeah, we lived in the more like actually concentrated central Quincy.
Okay. So from as a young child, were you always into board games, and was that something that your parents got you into?
So no, I was kind of a fan of video games all my life. I wanted to do video games, but I wanted to be the one like making them in the direction they'd be going. But then when I figured out that I'd be probably stuck as some kind of either code monkey or design monkey,
Right.
making stuff for people that wanted a certain thing that makes money, video games just fell off and appealed to me.
Interesting. Is there much more opportunity, or is the path to making a board game, is that much more approachable and available to people than a video game? Because obviously it takes way more money to make a video game.
I would say it's a lot more approachable because I can actually determine what it is.
Yeah, and you don't have to hire coders. I mean,
Yeah, I do not have to hire a giant team to see my vision realized.
Right.
I can just get a lot of people that I know personally over Discord.
Right, and that's
to
all
help
for
out.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And so when it comes to your vision of making the game that you're currently making, let's just say at the very most, what would your team need to look like? How many people?
Well, right now we really have I'd say 5 people that are working actively. I'm doing a lot of the work just because I have to lay the groundwork for everything as the setting and game system creator. But I have currently 2 other developers, an editor, and a few other people that help me with lore.
What kind of editor?
He is a copywriter, so he basically makes it so that everything looks neat, readable, can be understood by the general populace. He points out mechanics that don't make sense or need to be replaced.
Mechanics meaning like little intricacies to the storyline?
The mechanics would be how the player engages with the game itself.
Oh, like how to achieve shooting someone in the head. How to achieve that.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. For the viewers at home, I went to the Warhammer store on one occasion with Derek, and before that, I did play Warhammer 40K, I think, with Tommy.
It was 40K Kill Team. That was the smallest possible game for 40K, which is a skirmish game, which is instead of 50 models, you're only playing with at most 15.
And the thing about that is that as I was playing that game, I just found it to be very, first of all, stimulating because it moves pretty quickly, but also digestible. So when you're thinking about this game that you're making, is that kind of one thing that you want to integrate into that game? Is that it's digestible and it's approachable for beginners, or do you want it to be more for the hardcores?
So there is the definite problem of I do not like shallow development. Shallow development is basically creating something that's not deep but very wide to get as many people as possible. There's this big trend within a lot of tabletop RPGs of
which stands for role-playing game.
Which is called Rules Light. It's essentially an attempt to make the game as approachable as possible. Remove as many rules as it takes to allow anyone to play, and just kind of remove all of the math possible. Even remove all the rolls, rolling the dice, to push a very story-heavy thing. And okay. I will be upfront about this. This is really, really stupid.
Yeah.
Because at what point does a tabletop RPG, which the entire point is that not everything will go according to how you want it to be due to how the dice plan out.
Which is intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a interactive story. If you want an interactive story, go write something on the internet. Why are you playing this game? And so I don't believe in a rules light or rules heavy approach. I believe in a approach of you should make the number of rules and the depth of rules that fit the game you are trying to make. So I will say that I do not seek to cater to any one audience. I seek to cater design and development to making the game and achieving the goals I want it to achieve.
Okay, so it's really more for you than the audience.
It is. I will say that this is a personal passion project, but it is also like I do want this to get out there. I do want people to approach it and everything. Right. So I have to find that balance of how approachable do I make this versus how much do I keep to myself.
Sure. No, and it's interesting as you're talking about the rules heavy or the rules light approach. It's like everything seems like it's a certain level of easy to do until you realize like all the intricacies that go into it, and finding that balance between being for the hardcores and being for absolute beginners. Because like when you talked about games that like completely remove like the rolling of the dice, do those exist?
Yes, those actually exist.
I mean, admittedly, I have a very bad attention span, but I found the kind of free-flowing nature of a game with dice and how you don't know what's going to happen. I found that very intriguing. So that's interesting. Is that mostly for kids? Those type of games?
No. So I think it really started off with a game system called World of Darkness, and World of Darkness is all about basically gothic monsters, so like vampires, werewolves, Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
But set in like a contemporary time.
What does contemporary mean?
More modern. Think the 2000s.
Oh, okay. And when you're thinking about your game, what sort of time period do you want it to take place in?